Hi, it's me, MC of Healthy by George. I come each week to talk about things that help us stay healthy well into our older age. And today I want to talk about our gut to brain communication and the microbiome and how critical it is. So please think about subscribing. I'd love to see you here. And if you stay to the end of the video, you'll hear about a way to get a easy cheat sheet to help you figure out ways to help your gut and brain talk to each other better. So, why are your gut and brain so deeply connected? I think the key is that we have this digestive system, this nervous system, and our immune system, and they all talk to each other. But our gut health really does impact how we feel, how we think, and also to our overall brain health. And why is that? Because there's 100 million nerve cells that line our gut. And they're communicating through the vagus nerve, which is constantly sending updates to our brain. And if we have gut issues like bloating or some kind of upset, this can indirectly influence how you feel. It can increase anxiety and even make you have this foggy brain feeling and discover that you can't really think clearly. And so the truth is that when we think about our gut to brain axis, about 80 to 90% of the communication comes from the gut, not from the brain. You would think it's reverse. But the key is that if your stomach isn't doing well, your brain and your feelings aren't doing well either. It can help tell you that something's not right and that you need to think about what's going on in my whole body. Because your gut is a real key way, because it's the boss of the gut brain axis. It tells you, hey, look at your diet. Is it full of processed foods or too much sugar? Or what about your lifestyle? Are you having to spend too many hours at the job? Or are you trying to settle some issues economically with your finances, debt reduction, or how can I afford this week's groceries? Or what should I cook for dinner for the next week because I don't feel that inspired and it just feels easier to purchase a pizza or warm up some frozen meals. Listen, we all face this when things are challenging. But the truth is that if we're messing our gut up, we really are increasing an inflammation that's going on. And this can help us very little in how we can create a sense of well being in ourselves. When your gut is upset, you are increasing the disturbance of your inflammation in your body. You're increasing this imbalance. And you really have to look at what am I doing to help myself? So there are 5 key things that you can do to help you through this process of transitioning, especially as we face the holidays. We can look more closely. How am I helping myself every day to look at ways to improve my gut to brain communication? So, one is to eat diverse whole foods. There's just nothing more influencing than a whole food diet. But it's hard. I know it myself. I try to do several things a weekend where I cook something so that I have that or have some natural snacks like apples, carrots, celery, peppers, anything, even jicama, I think, to snack on, a crunchy something, because it just is so easy to purchase something in a bag, which has lots of things that are about highly processed. So, looking at ways that you could increase whole food nutrition, more plant based, these help us nurture those healthy microbiome, those little microbiome organisms that live in our gut. Also, too, fermented foods, which I struggle with. I find it difficult to eat kimchi. And it's hard for me to know what's fermented. But I think kefir, which is something my family drinks, it's a sort of a yogurt sour drink. It's more sour than your yogurt over the counter. But even yogurt that's not highly processed or doesn't have a lot of sugar in it is a great fermented food. So anything that's fermented, like if you wanted to try tempeh, or I think there's some of these bean pastes that you can try. I haven't tried them myself, but I hear these types of things can be very good for your gut because they feed those things that are really the healthy microbiomes. The other key is to starve the bad bugs or the bad little microorganisms in your gut. And so, guess what? Sugar is the devil. It is the demon because it feeds those bad gut bugs in our stomach. And really, you have to cut back, like with a laser focus. Because when you really look at how much sugar we need to consume every day, it's practically none. We don't need sugar to live. We really don't. And yet, 70 to 80% of what's in our grocery stores that's packaged has added sugar. It's really hard to embrace that, and it's not going to go away. So, reading the ingredients, seeing how much sugar, seeing how many ingredients are in processed food, don't eat it. If it has more than 4 or 5 ingredients, it should be not something you choose to consume unless you're just starting. So all those artificial ingredients, all of those things, those chemicals, those cause these organisms that are bad for our gut to thrive. And that's not going to help us in the long term. The other issue is we have stress coming at us from all directions. And if you're living with chronic stress, you have a hard job, you have a family that you're supporting, you're finding it difficult financially, there doesn't seem to be anything letting up from the stress dynamic. You have to just embrace that I'm going to give myself at least 5 minutes of either a meditative practice, some kind of mindfulness, a breathing practice. I know this all sounds so woo woo, but the research has shown that if you are doing something regularly, even a small amount of just breathing, you're turning away from the tablets, the phones, the laptop, giving your eyes a rest, giving your whole body a rest, and breathe. Setting the timer and breathe for 5 minutes. You will be surprised at how much this can help your chronic stress over time. So if you're not somebody who can do meditation or you really don't understand what a mindfulness practice is, just simply breathe for 5 minutes and you will be amazed at how you're going to help yourself with this chronic stress that we're all kind of living with in this time of day, in this day and time of what we're dealing with in our world. Another key issue, which is our sleep. We're learning how powerful of having a steady sleep regimen is. Sleep is really what allows our body to cleanse itself. This is the practice of giving ourselves a time for our gut to rest, where it can clean out those harmful microbiomes. It can repair whatever's going on in your gut. And when sleep is not a priority, it can cause this chronic cycle of disruption and inflammation. And our gut and our brain are chatting away, and it's just making us feel more and more anxious, more and more stressed. And the cycle is just going on and on. So, sleep and stress reduction, two really powerful choices to make daily. Breathe for 5 minutes. Make sure you go to bed and get 7 to 9 hours. I know how hard it is. I'm struggling with it myself, but I'm working towards a typical day of going to bed earlier so that I can feel more rested. And also, too, if you think about resting your gut, doing something that is what they call interim fasting so that you stop eating at 7 or 8 o'clock at night and then you don't eat again until 10 in the morning or 11 so that you have your gut resting for at least 12 to 14 hours. This can really help, again, calm down the whole conversation between your gut and your brain. The final thing to consider is my little chant is called movement is king. The truth is that movement is really the beneficial action that will always allow our gut microbiome to flourish. In fact, it increases the diversity of our microbiome. It helps us when we go out and run or do some quick walking or Do any kind of a practice, move with your weights, or like today, I just did 5 or 10 minutes of a little simple weight work. Sometimes we make these things about movement more complicated than they need. No, don't. Just get up, put some music on, dance, do anything, lift a weight, simple weight. If you have a baby, you have a toy, whatever gives you happiness and joy to move for 5 to 10 minutes, start there. That is going to help your gut in a big way. And then make a practice of walking after dinner, walking after lunch. Do anything so that you have a brisk movement practice that is part of your daily in keeping your microbiome healthy. Getting outside in the sunshine, breathing the fresh air if you live somewhere where it's not a big city like mine is New York. Our gut and our brain desire that process so badly. Not only is it our gut and our brain, our muscles, everything about movement is a winning combo for our healthy aging, is movement. So the link between our gut and brain is one of the most exciting areas of research because we really don't understand fully this issue around how our gut and our brain speak to each other. We're doing tons of research in this area because we understand how much it influences our mental health. So we need to treat this as if our mind isn't just a computer floating in space, disconnected from the body, but it's deeply connected into the wholeness of who we are. And that we're looking how we can make this something so that we understand that everything we do daily influences our gut, and our gut talks to our brain, and that can contribute to how we feel and think about our bodies, ourselves, our lives, and what we're doing. And it's key that we're doing things to help ourselves as much as possible in the 5 areas I've mentioned. That is going to help us in the long run to have the best brain function that we can. And it would be really a disservice if we didn't do something every day to address these 5 top issues. So if you want something to help you, please send me an email to healthybygeorge@gmail.com, and you'll get a little tool from me that will help you keep track of how you're supporting your gut to brain health. So the truth is, we all are in the seat to control what happens with our bodies. We're not just victims to the things surrounding us. We can choose what we do every day, what we eat, how we feel as far as stress is concerned, how we're living, how we're really talking to our bodies and are telling ourselves that we can be the master of what's going on between our gut and our brain. And that these 5 steps are really powerful tools, and that you can be a partner physically, both with your primary care provider and your other wellness practices, so that you can be the best version of yourself as you get older. I know this is my desire deeply, because we don't focus on how to contribute to our wellness in this medical world. We're more focused on, if you got sick, we're going to help you get well. But I don't want to wait till I'm sick. Do you? No. So if this helps you in any way, please think of subscribing. I would love to see you here. And if you've made it to this point in the video, please send me an email to healthybygeorge@gmail.com. And I'm going to send you a gift that will help you keep track of these 5 things that you can understand how to support your gut to brain connections. So be well, my friends. You have this one precious life. Let's live it to the fullest. And don't take our gut to brain connection for granted. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.